Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome back for another installment to our webinar series with Ubiquiti. Last webinar, we covered their unified door access solutions and went over how it easily integrates with the UniFi Protect ecosystem. Today, we're completing the UniFi Protect product line with their UniFi Protect surveillance solutions, including their varieties of security cameras, NVRs, switches, software, and all supporting services from Ubiquiti. If anyone missed our last webinar, no worries. We have it uploaded to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ISP Supplies. It's a great channel to subscribe to with regular original content added, and we cover most of the topics that matter to you, so make sure to subscribe. We initially marketed this webinar as presented by Andrew Piper, Solutions Engineer with Ubiquiti. It seems that Andrew has been pulled away today for a pressing in-person training across the country. However, we're very lucky to have Joachim Eriksson, a pre-sales engineer with Ubiquiti, join us in his place. Joachim is located in Sweden, about 6 hours ahead of us here in Texas, and was kind enough to accommodate presenting on our time zone. He has many years of experience under his belt, and he and Andrew together have prepared the slides that we will be covering in today's presentation. We will be recording this webinar and uploading it to our YouTube channel, as well as sharing it on social media. If anyone has questions during the presentation, please submit them in the chat window, and we'll see how many we can cover, time permitting. Joachim, thank you for joining us today and for presenting with such short notice. It's great to see how the Ubiquiti team works together, supporting each other in different training opportunities, just like today's. And so I will now hand it over to Joachim. Sir, the floor is all yours.
Well, hello, everybody. First of all, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here and do this webinar for you guys. And yeah, let's get started. So, as everybody knows, Ubiquiti started in networking, and a big focus for a long time for us was actually just that, networking. We started with Wi-Fi access points with UniFi, and then we moved into switches, and then on to routers and gateways. So it's only very recently that we got into physical security. And the first thing we got into was, of course, video. So what is it that makes Ubiquiti a standout player in physical security then? Yeah, I already did the introduction, so let's get into it. Well, we have a unified approach to everything, and that means that while we originally were focused on networking products, everything that we have expanded into, we have done so with a thought about how everything fits together, from our access points and switches to our camera surveillance systems to our phone systems, and also, of course, our access control systems that we did a webinar on earlier. And this is something I think is very unique because a lot of vendors, they do not consider how everything works together, and it just leads to a lot of fragmentation when it comes to IT systems. You need to have, very complicated setups where everything needs to be interconnected through some kind of, you need to use Entra or something similar to set it all up. And of course, that is a valid option, but it still gives you a lot of systems to maintain. And having just one integrated platform to use is very convenient, I think, for a lot of our users. We also offer something that I think a lot of other players don't really consider, and that is a seamless management platform that allows you to control everything, both locally, should you so wish, or through the cloud, if that is something that you want to do. Everything that we do is also license-free. While we do recently, we have started offering some subscriptions, like for example, for our IDS and IPS to enhance that. We don't charge any kind of continuous subscription to run your networks or your cameras. So we generally have the philosophy that if you buy something, it is yours to own and it's yours to use. And when we talk about license-free cloud management, that is truly something true. Something to pay attention to, though, is while other vendors, they do offer cloud management, they offer a full cloud solution. That means that all of your data is pushed up into the cloud and hosted there. We offer a hybrid approach where you run our software locally on a device that you own and control. And our cloud management is really just a way to more easily access it if you are outside your own network. And this is also something that is completely optional. And if you, for security reasons, need to disconnect our hardware from the internet, that is something that is fully possible to do, and you're not going to run into any problems doing so. It'll all keep working perfectly fine. Of course, you won't be able to remotely access it, but besides that, you're not going to run into any big issues. So yeah, as you can see, we offer an all-in-one end-to-end IT solution. And we have everything from our cloud gateways. Those are the controllers and for our network products, and also in some cases for our other products such as Protect and Access and Connect. So we offer everything from enterprise scale, like our Enterprise Fortress Gateway, and to smaller scales, like our Dream Machines, which can also act as Protect. Protect is our video surveillance software, and these can act as both a network gateway, a small switch, as well as NVR. We also have more compact solutions that are mostly intended for home users, and in some cases, like the Cloud Gateway Max or the Dream Router, you can actually use these as NVR as well. But we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the larger products in this talk. And as you can see, we have a full lineup of switches, access points, and of course, cameras and the door access. And we'll dive more into that later on. And of course, a big focus, as I mentioned, is that we try to eliminate the traditional IT pain points. Something that is very important is it is completely license free. You buy the hardware, you own it, you can run it. We offer detailed analytics and intelligent alerts to help you as the administrator resolve any issues you run into proactively. We have advanced network security when it comes to our switches and our access points, and it's easy to manage. It scales very well because of our hybrid approach to things. You can very easily scale from one very large site with 1,000 devices to 1,000 sites with one devices, if you so should wish. And of course, we offer intelligent monitoring, performance monitoring, AI enhancement for cameras, all of that good stuff. So why physical security? Well, it is a market that is very large already today, but it's also going to grow quite a lot in the coming years. It is estimated it's going to grow almost $80 billion in the coming, 5 years, I guess, because in 2023 it was 136. So revenue forecast is up. And this gives us the ability to to integrate something that traditionally maybe a lot of IT companies have not really been focusing on. And that is one of our main targets. Because physical security has been something that traditionally hasn't been under the umbrella of IT. And honestly, we think it should be. And with the help of UniFi Protect, you can easily integrate this and you can learn how it works. And it makes it very easy to expand your integration business into physical security, and it makes it profitable to do so as well, because we do not have any license fees. So how can you grow your business with UniFi Access and Protect? Well, as I mentioned, if you don't have any physical security experience, that is not a problem. It is very easy to integrate this into your existing infrastructure. Everything is PoE powered, for example. So if you're used to working with Wi-Fi access point and similar devices, you're going to find it very easy to get used to working with Protect. And we have also spent a lot of time developing tools such as our design center to make it easy to visualize how you are going to install your cameras and how everything will look when it is all deployed. It gives you a better unified management platform that allows you to not only integrate video surveillance with your networking products, but also allows you to integrate door access control and video surveillance into one interface that simplifies operations for your end customers. And of course, if you are an MSP, you can leverage our license-free cloud platform to generate recurring revenue with maintenance plans. And yeah, the site manager allows you to manage deployments at basically an unlimited scale. As in the slide before, we mentioned everything from 1 to 10,000 sites. It is not an issue at all. Let's have a little bit of a look at how a traditional physical security architecture looks here for UniFi. So basically, we have the site manager. This runs in the cloud by us, and it is, as I mentioned, free. That is then connected to the cloud gateway, or more accurately, the cloud gateway will connect to the site manager. And the cloud gateway acts as the main hub on your site. It is where Protect and Access and Network runs. So it runs locally on this device. And of course, we have a switch that is then connected to this cloud gateway. And on this switch, which is probably going to be a PoE switch, that is where we connect our cameras and also our door access devices if we choose to deploy them. In the Protect ecosystem as well, you can see that it's mentioned that we have some other things such as floodlights and sensors and sirens. And yeah, that is, I guess, beyond the scope of camera surveillance, but it is also something that is part of UniFi Protect. Right, so let's dive more into UniFi Protect specifically. And we can have a little bit of a look here at a setup, what it looks like, and some of the other cameras that we have here. We have our core components, which would be, the different types of cameras, like the AI DSLR, our PTC cameras, our bullet cameras, our turrets, our dome cameras, and of course our AI 360s. You can also see that we're demonstrating a viewport, which is a device to allow you to pull up camera feeds and display them on a TV or a screen, for example. And of course, we also have our NVR, a cloud gateway, and a switch here to display. So what makes UniFi Protect better than other vendors in this market? Well, we have spent a lot of time on our software, specifically to make it easy to use. And I'm not just talking about networking here, I'm talking about all of our products. We spent a lot of time making sure that you do not need to be an expert with a degree in software engineering or in network communications in order to understand how to set things up. It is very easy to get started with UniFi, to both adopt the camera, set up any settings you might want to set up, and to get used to actually operating it. It is highly accessible and easy to use because of how easy it is to actually adopt the devices into the system, as well as that we traditionally base everything around power over Ethernet. It also means you don't need to consider different wiring standards. When you design your systems, you can use the same network infrastructure for everything, from your access points to your cameras to your access control systems. Because all of your data is on-site stored, it is more secure as long as you manage it well than a purely cloud-based solution. I'm sure that you've heard about all of the incidents that has happened with companies that haven't secured their assets in the cloud well enough, or that something has been leaking out. And with the way we build our systems, it's very easy if you have a high security requirement that you can just disconnect it entirely from the internet and run it privately. So let's look a little bit about our cameras specifically and their features. So as mentioned here, we have up to 4K cameras with IR night vision. You can set up motion zones to focus on that this is either where you either want to avoid triggering events on people moving or where you want to focus on motion. You can set up privacy zones if there is areas that you don't want to capture video from. You can set up crossing lines. You can set up, of course, smart detections that can tell the difference in the cameras between persons, animals, and vehicles. We have built-in smoke alarm and CO alarm detection. So this is using the built-in microphones of the devices to notice that a smoke alarm, for example, is going off. Our more advanced AI cameras have both face and license plate recognition, which also can be combined with our access control systems to open doors or to open gates, for example. Since everything is local, the latency is very, very low if you want to rewind or scroll through footage. And when it comes to our PDC cameras, we of course have support for auto person tracking as they're moving through a building or a site. The remote management, if you have more than one site, is all done using Site Manager, as we talked about before. And if it turns out that one of our NVRs is too small for your scale, you can very easily stack multiple NVRs together via something we call Vantage Point. So either create a virtual NVR that can display all of your cameras. And this also allows you to set up multi-site monitoring. If you, for example, want to build a dashboard that displays the exterior cameras of multiple sites, that is very easy to set up. We also allow you to back your video data up both to the cloud or to a local NAS, if that is something that you desire. And of course, our NVRs have built-in RAID for data protection and support for redundant power. Yeah, and we've also spent quite a lot of time building additional AI features, since that is something that has been very popular in the last couple of years. So we're going to dive more into that as well. And here we can see an example of person detection in UniFi Protect. And we can move on to see this is a detection zone, for example, that this is where we're going to focus on noticing people that are moving in and out. And of course, license plate recognition. Let's talk a little bit about the Alarm Manager. So if you have worked with UniFi Protect before, you might not have noticed this, but this is something that we built in order to very easily set up both flows. For example, that if a known license plate is detected by a specific camera, then we will trigger a gate opening. Can also set up webhooks with this. So as, for example, as you can see here, you can get a Slack notification when cars are passing through a gate. But this also goes, for example, for facial recognition. If you have a person of interest that you would like to be alerted about, if they are, approaching your site, you can set that up in a very similar way. So it is a very powerful tool that allows you to integrate very easily with a lot of different systems. For home users, I know, for example, that people have connected this together with Home Assistant to do all kinds of cool things. Yeah, and this is Vantage Point. I was talking a little bit about it earlier. It allows you to stack multiple MVRs together, either to build dashboards from multiple sites or just to not have to browse different MVRs when it comes to stacking them together virtually. Let's have a little bit of a look at different form factors of our cameras. So we have the traditional bullet style camera. We have the dome one, we have the PTCs, we have the doorbell. Now, the doorbell, I would say, is not so much intended for businesses. It's more of a private home type of doorbell. But we also have the Flex, the DSLR, the 360 camera, the turret, discrete, or the AI thetas, like we call them. And of course, we have a couple of Wi-Fi cameras as well, in case you need to install a camera somewhere where there is no Ethernet runs already. When it comes to tampering resistance, I think it's important to note that the dome and turret cameras are the ones that are the most highly rated as it comes to that, due to their form factor and how they can be locked into place. Let's look a little bit more at the detailed statistics here. Of course, this is a lot of stats. We're not going to really look into it a lot, but feel free to take a screenshot if you are interested more in this. But we can look a little bit about our different lineups here. You can see that we have a couple of 1440p cameras. We have some 4K cameras. And yeah, generally that is the camera resolution that we use, somewhere between 1440 and full 4K resolution. And you can also see the field of views of the different cameras here. You can see the lens, because some of our cameras, like the G5 Pro and the AI Pro, they do have optical zoom. The same is true for the DSLR and the PTC cameras. As you can see, most of our cameras are outdoor rated. And you can also see that the ones with AI in the name are the ones that have enhanced AI detection. And this means that they do support facial recognition as well as license plate recognition. Most of them are powered with PoE, but we do have a couple of more powerful ones that require PoE+. This is specifically the G5 Pro, the AI Pro, the AI DSLR, as well as the standout, which is the G4 PTC, which has pretty crazy camera with up to 22 times optical zoom. And because of that, it actually requires PoE++. The doorbell comes in two different variants. It comes either with a USB-C power connection or a PoE. And you can also see the IK and IP rating underneath here as well, if you're interested in that. Many cameras do support two-way audio as well, so that is something to keep in mind. And the Theta is very flexible when it comes to installs. It's a lot of integrators love it because it makes it very easy to kind of install in a roof or something and just hide it away so it's not very visible. It does come with optional lenses, so that is, you can actually adjust it if you want a narrow, a wide, or a 360 lens on it. Let's look a little bit about some of our newer offerings. So this is the AI Dome. It is one of our newer, more advanced cameras. Something that is very unique about this one in our lineup is that it comes with an optional SD card on it as well. And this is intended in case the dome camera loses connectivity with the NVR. It allows you to record data to that local SD card instead of losing it. It also has, because it has AI in the name, it does support facial license plate recognition. It has an integrated microphone. It is weatherproof and IK10 rated, and it has 40 meters of IR night vision with a 110 degrees field of view. The AI turret is very similar. It also has an SD card for local recording, also 40 meters of night vision, 110 degrees field of view. This one also has a built-in spotlight that you can see underneath that allows you to actually light an area up at night. Also, of course, supports face and license plate recognition, and it is weatherproof. While the dome does have an IK10 rated, which is the highest one, I believe, this one is just an IK8, and that is, of course, because you don't have the dome that is completely protecting it. But personally, I like the image quality from this one a lot better because the dome can sometimes cause IR light reflections, which are quite annoying. We also, of course, have this dual camera mount in case you want to install a couple of cameras just on the side of a building and cover different areas of it. Let's have a little bit of a look at, we have the AI LPR as well, of course. This is a camera that we built specifically for license plate recognition on fast-moving vehicles. It can handle vehicles that are moving up to 90 kilometers per hour, which is let's see, that's about 55, 56 miles per hour. So it's quite fast, actually, and it works very well at this. You can see it's a 4K camera. It has 3 times optical zoom, so you can put it in the perfect position and then zoom it in a little bit. It does very well at license plate recognition, even at night. And of course, it has a built-in microphone in case you want to record audio. We also have something very new. We recently introduced support for OnVIF in UniFi Protect. And this allows you to integrate cameras from, for example, Hikvision, Dahua, Bosch, and other vendors that support OnVIF. But sadly, we don't support all of the features in the OnVIF protocol. So if it's a more advanced camera that you want to keep on using, but you still want to have AI features on it, you can get one of these guys. It's an AI port. It's powered with PoE++. It can optionally also power a camera directly, so you can put it inline, but that is not needed. But what it does is it adds facial and license plate recognition, as well as object detection, etc., for all OnVIF cameras. Right now, it only supports one 4K camera, but the limitation is actually in the amount of megapixels. So it supports 8 megapixels in total, which means that in the future, we're going to allow you to connect 2 4-megapixel cameras or 4 2-megapixel cameras to it, or any combination of those. It's a very interesting little device if you have a site that have a lot of OnVIF cameras and they don't really want to spend the money to upgrade them all yet, because perhaps they have invested in very expensive access cameras and they're happy with them. They just want to get away from Milestone or something similar. Then this is a good option to look into. Yes. Let's look a little bit more at how we can integrate UniFi Access and UniFi Protect. I mentioned this a little bit before as well, but as you see here, we can have a cloud gateway. This one is the Dream Machine Pro Max. It is a network controller, as well as it can run UniFi Protect. You can see it has 2 drive bays, so it can't handle too many cameras or too much data, but it's good enough if you have just a couple of cameras. It also has a built-in switch, sadly not PoE, so you'll still need a PoE switch for that. But some of the integrations you can do here is if somebody opens a door we can record an event with a camera so that whoever is going through the door, if you have a camera on the entry and exit, we will record that and link it together with that event of the door opening. You can set it up so that if we recognize a face, we will unlock a door. If we see a known license plate, we will open a gate. And you can also, of course, have somebody who is remotely monitoring the site and the cameras, and they can identify a person coming up. They know it's a known person, and then they can unlock it for that person. We can also, of course, recognize person and vehicles of interest and flag that if that is something that we are interested in doing. Yes, we have looked a little bit about this slide before as well. As you can see, it integrates very well together. The cloud gateway runs UniFi Protect and Access, and everything connects to the switch and is powered by PoE. And if you want to manage it, you can either do it from your mobile app or from your web browser. And this includes either remotely connecting through Site Manager, or you can just directly connect using the IP address of the cloud gateway. So yeah, it actually pairing these two together offers expanded security and valuable features that you kind of miss if you do not link them together. As I mentioned, you can pair the Protect cameras directly to door access hubs. They actually have a built-in PoE switch that allows you to connect an entry and exit camera directly to the door access hub. And it's very easy to set all of this up. It doesn't take a long time to do it. You can get up and running in, 5 minutes, and with more advanced configuration in 10, 15. And yeah, that is it for me today. We have some essential UI resources, of course. I really recommend that you guys check out our design center. And of course, if you're more curious about tech specs of anything we've talked about here today, you can find it at techspecs.ui.com. And of course, we have our community, our YouTube channel, a lot of other things to check out.
All right. Yeah. Excellent presentation. We really appreciate you covering all that info, Joachim. As expected, we had tons of questions roll in, which is great. It shows that we have a very attentive group with us today. And so let's just dive right in and see how many we can knock out before the time runs out. One of the questions is, actually, since you're on the resources page here, how can I determine how much NVR storage I will need? Is there a calculator available online that will help you determine based on recording time and type or number of cameras? That's a great question. Joachim, please tell us a little bit about the tools available for UniFi Protect.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have the calculator specifically mentioned here. It's calculator.ui.com that allows you to specifically see how much storage your cameras will use up. Something to pay attention to, though, is it depends quite a lot on the size of the drives that you put into your NVR. But of course, we also have a physical limit. For example, the eNVR, which is our largest NVR, it supports 70 4K cameras or 140 2K cameras, right? But depending on the amount of drives you put into it, it can, go all the way from 60 days if you have a full slot out with 24 terabyte drives. And if you just go down to 1 terabyte drives, you will literally just have 2 or 3 days of storage on it.
Another question that came in is having a backup SD card slot like the AI Dome and AI turret cameras. Is that going to be a standard for all cameras going forward?
That is a good question, and I do not actually know. I can tell you that we are working on the Gen 6 cameras, but I haven't been able to see them in detail yet.
Okay, thank you. We look forward to that update in the future. Quite a few questions came in regarding the AI cameras. Are detection zones and license plate recognition available on all UniFi AI cameras or just a select few?
It is available on all UniFi AI cameras.
Fantastic. Thank you. Another AI question here. Where can I learn step by step how to set up the UniFi Protect system, including configuring zones, alarms, etc.? Is there a resource for that?
Yeah, so you can find quite a lot of help on UniFi's own help pages, of course. And besides that, I know that there is a ton of really, really good YouTube tutorials out there on how to get started. So I would recommend to check that out. There's some really good third-party YouTubers that can teach you this. But this is not something to be scared of. I realized that this slideshow didn't dive into depth on how you adopt cameras or something like that, but it is very easy to do. So you basically set up your NVR, you start UniFi, the application that will allow you to adopt the NVR to your account. And then after that, you power up your cameras and you will literally get a pop-up that asks you if you want to adopt it to your system, and you just keep on doing that and they'll show up. But as I mentioned, there is better and more in-depth tutorials on how to do this on YouTube and on our help center.
Good deal. Thank you. And maybe we'll put out some tutorials in the future as well. Another question here is, when will these new AI cameras be in stock at distributors for large deployments? That's a great question. When do you think it'll be safe for customers to plan out large projects with these new cameras?
Oof, that is a good question as well. I can't give you an answer, sadly. So I'm based in Europe. I don't know a lot about stock availability in the US. I do know that we're scaling up production and putting more factories online. So availability in general should become better as we now are moving into Q2 of 2025.
Excellent. Thank you. And if anyone has any large scale deployments for these cameras, please send us the details to our sales@ispsupplies.com email address. And we do provide design assistance, and we're able to kind of help you figure out what you're going to need, availability, lead times, and pricing and everything. So reach out to us and we'll definitely be able to help you with that portion there. Another question here, is there a limit on how many cameras I can set up at one location, such as a school or a stadium?
No, not really. I've heard the number of around 1,000 being the current soft limit that we have tested right now. But as far as I know, there is no real hard limit on it. It depends a little bit about the resolution and the available storage and how many NVRs you're willing to install and set up.
Thank you very much. Another question came in here. Can face blurring be enabled for environments where camera contents need to be anonymized, such as schools and classrooms?
That is a great question. Currently, we do not support that, but I will bring that back to one of our product leads.
Thank you. Do I need an AI port for every third-party camera I install?
So as I mentioned, the AI port currently only supports one camera, but we are planning on upgrading the firmware so that it will support more than one. So then it will be resolution based. So basically it can handle one 4K camera or one 8 megapixel camera. So 8 megapixels is quite normal for a 4K camera. So if we step down to a 2K camera, we have half the resolution, and it's usually a 4 megapixel camera. And that allows you to, in the future, you'll be able to connect two of those. So it's going to be 4 1K cameras, 2 2K cameras, or a combination, like, for example, 2 1K cameras on two 1K cameras and 1 2K camera. That'll basically be the limit. So yeah, it's going to be more than one, as long as it's not a 4K camera, because the limit is one 8 megapixel camera, or 8 megapixels in total.
Thank you, Joachim. A lot of really good questions coming in, and we're definitely going to do a follow-up to answer all these questions that came in that we haven't been able to get you the answers right away for, but we'll definitely be following up for all this. And I hate to do this, but our time is coming to an end, and we need to wrap up our presentation today. I'm sure there are many more pending questions out there, and no worries. You can email us your questions. We'll make sure to get them answered for you ASAP. Please send your questions to sales@ispsupplies.com, which is the same email address to send any type of project email details over, and we'll be able to help you out right away. Joachim, it's been a pleasure having you with us today. We learned a lot, and we look forward to future webinars covering more UniFi solutions with you. So we really appreciate you jumping on and presenting with us today. As previously stated, we will be uploading this webinar to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ISP supplies, and we'll also be sharing it on social media. So please make sure to subscribe to our channel and to follow all of our pages. And this wraps up our webinar today. Thank you all for attending. Until next time.